I've always called, I've always called him a little weasel. I think he's quite feeble. I don't know. I just
One person who is going to be motivated financially soon enough is going to be Mr. Matt Hancock. He's going to have to figure something out. It's a tough one, right? Because at the end of the day, we're in the middle of this global or coming to the end, hopefully, of a global pandemic. And is it right? Is it wrong? And ultimately, is it anything to do with us? And at the same time, if the guy has been, depending on who you listen to, instrumental in moving us forward in this situation, what do you do? Thoughts?
God, I'll be honest with you, I've never really liked him. Only because I think you need someone with a bit more about them in that job. I've always called him a little weasel. I think he's quite feeble. I don't know. And yes, I agree. They've all done a tremendous job. Like we're the fastest country with vaccine rollouts.
I believe so.
We're world leading. People want the stuff we've got that we've produced here. So you can't take that off him. He's done that. He's a human being, isn't he? At the end of the day, same as Boris. He stutters his words, and he's the most funny looking thing to look at, and his character's so different. But God, would any of us like to have done his job in the past 18 months? That's got to be one of the toughest jobs anyone has ever had to do in that seat. And I remember when he was locking us down, I hated him, absolutely hated him. I hated all of them. I think we all did, didn't we?
And to tie it back to the previous comment as well, he is, in my opinion, grossly underpaid for the job that he's just had to do over the last 18 months.
Yeah, big time.
It's not a fantastically paid job in reality compared to CEOs of companies and so on and so forth. But to tackle what we've had to go through and to be the brunt of everyone, like you say, hating the guy.
Yeah. He'll get, I think, to be honest with you, though, when you're on that platform that he's had for the last 18 months, he's made it now. He's made it. He can hang his boots up after the end of all this and say, look, I've taken you all through it. We're through it now. I'm done. And he'll make a fortune in, he's like Donald Trump, obviously, he was a crazy leader, but known throughout the world. So he'll just ride off the back of all sorts now, won't he? In terms
look at Tony Blair. Tony Blair made millions just speaking and consulting.
Exactly.
But you've never made any cups, right?
Well, we've all. I think you have to make the mistakes, don't you? To learn. I think his unfortunately is obviously on a world stage, so it's for everyone to see. We've all made mistakes. We've all kind of said and done things we've regretted in life. But you have to make them mistakes to progress and to never do them again in business. Certainly, you will hire certain people because you think they're going to do a great job, but they're not the right personality fit for the business. And we've all done that. But yeah, it's a case of you've got to learn by it. Don't do it again. You don't get burnt twice. But yeah, it makes you a stronger person, doesn't it? It makes you a more rounded individual.
As long as you come out the other side and you've, like you say, you've learned from that lesson. Don't repeat it again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big thing. Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about what you do now, because you've sort of gone through a couple of transitions. I mean, how did we get from Toyota to Avid Media? Like, what was that whole journey? So
Toyota I was with for 8 years in after sales. So I've never worked in sales. It was all after sales. Worked my way up there, was after sales manager, and got headhunted to work for Stratstone BMW in Derby. So Chris took me there. I was only there for 11 months. I hated it. And he knows that. I've said to him, he's retired now. Chris has, actually, bless him. He's only recently retired. Everyone in Derby will know Chris. And anyone who's brought a BMW will know Chris. and just didn't enjoy it. It was like a rat race. You know, there was 12 ramps, 12 technicians, 30, 40 jobs coming through the workshops every day, pressure. Customers wasn't very nice. You know, I was used to the kind of 50, 60-year-old Toyota Yaris customer would sit and have a cup of tea with you, read the paper. Yeah, it's ready when it's ready, Mark. You know, that kind of customer. And went from that to, you know, I need my car now. I need to look at it now. We haven't got a ramp, you know. I've had keys chucked at me. I've had ex-Derby players' wives shout at me very loudly. And it took about 11 months of that. I thought, no, I can't do this. I had to step out of it. So that's when I got the job at the conference centre and started again almost, really. Did 4 years of that, and that's how I learned to network. But whilst I was there, my hobby was photography. So I was shooting whilst I was there part-time, doing weddings, really. So that's where it kind of stemmed from. I think the conference centre was the big step for me because, one, I was shooting, and two, I didn't even know what networking was when I joined there, because I would always been in a reactive job. I've been in a job where I just had to say yes sir, no sir. And Chris, yeah, I always remember Chris Astor's such a great guy. He said to me when I left, I handed my notice in, and he says, I always knew you wouldn't last long here. He says, because you don't like being told what to do. He says, you just need to go and work for yourself, go and figure it out. And that's what I did. Well, someone said to me once, you know, if you can do the job you love, you won't work. It doesn't feel like you're working. It's the old saying, isn't it? You know, do a job you love, you never work another day in your life. And I don't know who told me that. I can't remember who told me that. I must have read it somewhere or heard it somewhere. And I gave that a bit of thought. And I thought, well, if I can shoot football and cars, then that's like living the dream, isn't it, really?
And getting paid for it, yeah.
Yeah, and getting paid for it. It's like, God, yeah.
Where did the fascination with cars come about then?
So cars, when I left college, I got a job at Halfords, and I had a little Corsa then, like as we did as boy racers. And that's where it kind of came from, really. So Halfords back in the day was a really good place to go and buy your parts for cars, where now it's just full of rubbish. There's nothing decent to buy in there. You might buy a bike pump in there now, that's about it. But back in the day when we used to work there, they sold alloy wheels and bits and bobs, and that's where it came from, really. It started there, and I think that then took me into my job with Toyota, and then that was it. Once I was in with them guys, it was cars, and I've never shook it off since. It's a big part of what we do now is cars still. So
yeah. What's been sort of the best project that you've ever worked on, or maybe the project that you've been the most proud of? I know you've done a lot of great stuff.
God, that's a good one. I like doing the football kit launches, because we've done a few with Luton, Rotherham, Derby County. So you're working alongside Umbro and Puma. So you're working alongside some big brands. But what I love about them is that we're the first to see it. So a football kit, if you're in the football world, you know, it's one of them hidden, you know, releases that everyone looks forward to. Oh, what's the new kit going to look like? And it's always great shooting them because you're the first one to see it, and you're the one to bring it to life. And then when you see the images plastered everywhere on billboards, social media, magazines, that's always a really cool job to do.
And I think that's just business 101, right? Especially, you know, managing people. You know, you've got staff there. You don't hide away. You don't lock yourself away and just make an appearance once a month.
No.
You know, you've got to communicate with them on a daily basis. And it's the same with your customers. It's the same with your suppliers. You know, you've got to be out there. Otherwise, it does create a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, you have to be one of the staff, you know. It's the same with us. We won't give our staff anything that we don't want to do ourselves. You know, we were all in it together. When we do an event, we did an event yesterday, you know, just me and Kristen did it yesterday, but we will muck in together. You know, I'm still on the cameras. That's what I love doing. I don't actually like running the business. That's the boring bit. That's the bit I don't like doing. You know, like days like today where I have to do admin this morning and quoting and stuff. I have to do it because that's part of it. I want to be out there on the cameras. You know, this afternoon I'm shooting cars, so I'll be doing something I love this afternoon. I think if me and Ash was looking after what we were spending, we'd have no money.
You'd have the latest kit every week. You'd have
exactly.
all the cameras and computers you could possibly want.
Yeah, we'd be rolling around in brand new Range Rovers, brand new kits everywhere. And I just ordered some DJ decks off online. I thought I used to do it as a kid at my bedroom, or as a kid, like as a teenager, and used to mix dance tracks. Always been into my house music and stuff. So I knew the basics. So I taught Olivia, and she just picked it up like that. It was like scary how she picked it up. And she just took it and ran with it and does it all manually now. And then she's had Sam Devine contact her, wanting to do some stuff with her, who's, you know, massive in the house music game, you know, X Radio 1 DJ. She's had a couple of videos on TikTok go viral. She's DJ'd at Bustler twice now in Derby. And it's one of them. I said to her, I said, you know, at school they tell you you're going to go and get a job, and you know, and obviously you've got to do well at school. You know, she's going to be going to secondary school in a few weeks' time. I said, obviously you've got to learn your maths, learn your English, learn the basics you need for life. But I said, you do know you can do this as a job. She said, what, DJ? And I said, yeah, you can do very well. You can make a lot of money doing this as a job. You could do it all the way around the world. Me and your mum can come and help you. We'll carry your bags in Ibiza. I said, you could do this as a job. And she's now started to believe that. So I'm installing in her as a 10-year-old, you don't have to go out and work in a shop when you leave school, or you don't have to go to university or college. You can go out there with that skill set that you've got as a female DJ, and there's not many of them out there, and go and play to a crowd and earn a lot of money doing it. And I think.
All right. Cheers, mate. Have a good day.
Take care, mate. Cheers, Sean.